Hello, everyone, and thank you so very much for joining us here today. I'd like to welcome you all to our fourth quarter demo day. First up, I just want to thank our sponsor who's making this event free for all of you today to attend, which is Capital Department. If you're a founder who's considering doing a Reg CF raise or is currently doing a Reg CF raise, I highly encourage you to reach out to Maria Springer, who is the founder of Capital Department, and her team. They do phenomenal work in helping companies to successfully raise funding. And if you're an investor in a company that's doing a raise, she's a great connection to make who can be helpful to them as well. Feel free to reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to make an intro to Maria and her team. So at KingsCrowd, right, our aim is always to empower everyone to become an intelligent investor in startups. And the quarterly demo day is really just a creation from hearing from all of you, our customers, that you want more access and insights directly from the founders. So we feel we're well positioned to do that as a leading data and research provider for the market, where we see all the deals regardless of platform or regulation type. Today, you're going to be hearing from three exceptional founders, all in very different industries and stage of business that are creating really exciting startups that you can invest in. The three companies you're going to be hearing from today are Adam Limbs, Clockwork, and Jetoptera. They will each have 8 minutes to pitch, followed by Q&A from our team, and then we will have questions from the audience. And you can feel free to insert questions during the pitch into the Q&A section that's at the bottom of the Zoom screen, and we'll do our best to get to as many of them as we can. And something I did want to note is that for each company today, we're actually going to be providing a company overview graphic and unlocking their analyst report on KingsCrowd so that they're free and available to all of you to be able to check out and learn more about the business. And then at the end, based on their pitch and your review of the report at KingsCrowd, you actually will have the opportunity to make your voice heard by voting on a winner of today's pitch event near the end of the event. And we'll also hold a small roundtable with our analysts to discuss today's pitches. And lastly, one of the things that I always like to highlight when we have these demo days, and something that I think really sets our entire industry apart from anyone else, is that every company hearing from here today is a company that you can actually go and invest in today. Go to their offering pages and actually click invest. So you don't just have to, vote in our survey. You can vote with your dollars and actually make an investment into these businesses, which I personally think is really cool. It's startup investing as accessible as possible, which I think is really, really neat, and something that makes our industry really special. So with that, let's kick it off. Adam Limbs, Tyler, you are up.
Awesome. Cool. I'll take the mic from you, Chris. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, I guess, wherever you are in the world, everyone. Nice to meet you all. I'm Tyler Hayes, co-founder and CEO of Adam Limbs, and I will pull up our pitch here. So a little bit about me real quick. I'm a four-time founder, previously co-founded a company called Bebo, which we sold to Amazon in 2019. It was the leading online gaming products and streaming company. I was also formerly co-founder and CEO of Prime, the #1 family health records and care coordination app in the App Store. I've scaled companies to over 1 billion users. I was employee number 10 at Y Combinator-backed Discuss, the leading online comments community solution, which was acquired by Zeta in 2018. And of course, I'm a proud power user of KingsCrowd for many years now. And at Adam Limbs, we are on a mission to enable profound physical abilities, starting with people who have lost their limbs. Probably a lot of people on this call haven't lost a limb, but it actually is a fairly prevalent problem in the world, and it's pretty acute. Almost all arm amputees today still use hooks that were designed in 1912. That's a real thing. I wish I was making that up. They really still use the same hooks that were designed about 100 years ago. The sad part is, of course, that they actually don't even really still use them. Abandonment is very, very high with these. And it's no small problem. Over 100 million people in the world have lost a limb. And in the US, it's about 10% of that population. And a whopping 1.5 million people undergo amputation every single year. And by 2050, limb loss is actually projected to double. It's largely driven by diabetes and vascular disease. And existing solutions are really just out of reach. On the low end and on the high end, there's really nothing in the middle. On the low end, these hooks cost $25,000. It's pretty expensive already. And on the high end, the state-of-the-art solutions, you'd call them, are about $200,000. So they're just completely priced out for people. Millions of people in the world are tragically underserved by these solutions, and it's really kind of two main things that drive this lack of functionality in all these. One is that the industry just has a slow culture of innovation, the prosthetics industry. And the second is that it's still everything assembled by hand. So that photo you see there on the right of that technician, All these prosthetics today are still casted by hand, just like an injury orthotic would be. I mean, I certainly haven't lost a limb, so I, can only say so much. This is a very common thing you will hear from people. The number one joke in the industry from the market is that people just leave their prosthetics in their closet and they're happy to show you. So what are we working on here at Atom Limbs, which is what we're all here to talk about today? We have created what's called the Atom Touch, and this is a breakthrough level of functionality in prosthetic arms at an actually affordable price point. We're trying to bring the price point down too. So, the two most common questions I get are certainly, is it better and how does it work? In terms of how it's better versus the state of the art, I think versus a hook, it's kind of no question. In terms of the state of the art, the Atom Touch has several advantages that have never actually even been done before. One is finger control. There is no prosthetic arm in the world that has finger control. They just open and close the hands. All the arm joints, so you have wrists don't exist in prosthetics today, not complete wrists at least. Basic touch feedback, so contact and pressure when you touch things are related to haptic sensations on your stump. And a near full range of human motion, as well as the fact that it's lightweight and breathable and comfortable to use all day, and a number of other things. In terms of how it works, users train the system in under 5 minutes, and then they're controlling the arm. And today, this is mainly powered by non-invasive surface EMG electrodes that we put on the user's stump. And finally, touch feedback lets users further refine their control. So when you have the ability to touch something, you can grab around it. You don't have to use your eyes to touch things. It actually aids a lot of our motor control. So in other words, users control the arm intuitively. They just think and it moves. So is it better and how does it work? What about even more? What about what's coming next? Because we've built our platform from the ground up, we have a number of advantages that no one else can even really accomplish because of our machine learning stack, because of the motors we've designed ourselves. And you'll see them on the bottom of this screen here, the auto leveling, the dynamic gripping, the gait recognition. These are really just things that have never been possible in prosthetics before. In terms of how far we've come already, just in the last 2 years, we actually already almost landing our production intent design. We have created effectively a neurally connected artificial limb in just under 2 years with just $8 million invested. We have designed and own almost every part of our system. We have many patents filed, of course, including our smart motors. There are 12 motors in the hand right now, and each of the fingers is almost fully kitted out with motors. 100% of our testers have moved all their joints, which is no small accomplishment, and we're very, very proud of, but we're not stopping there. No one's ever done this in a production arm before. Only Atom Limbs has actually done this, and we've already received plenty of positive reviews, which you see here on the screen. And today I have the distinct advantage of sharing a user video of this gentleman here on the left. You see Jason. So let me actually just pull this up real quick here. I hope everyone enjoyed watching those two gentlemen as much as we do, certainly every day in the office. It's always an emotional experience. What I think I would like to leave everyone with here today is two quick things. One, that our team is a highly seasoned team of ex-leadership from Apple and many other companies around Silicon Valley, and that the market itself is ready and poised for an affordable breakthrough device priced at $20,000. And we're just about a year and a half away from being a market. And thanks so much for your time today, everyone. You can find us at wefunder.com/AtomLimbs.
Thank you so much, Tyler. That is really, really exciting technology and something that I imagine for everyone who needs to use a prosthetic is extremely excited to be able to actually come to market. With that, we'd love to open it up to questions from our analyst team to start. And then please feel free to start submitting questions from the audience if you have any questions for Tyler here in the next few minutes. Leah, did you have a question for Tyler?
Hi, Tyler, and thank you so much for having us and Apologies, just realized it's 8:45 here and cloudy in Oakland, California. So I look a little bit weird, but still have a lot of exciting questions for you. So Tyler, during your last year raise, you were planning on going to market in 2023, and you now just told us that you were about to go to market in 1 year to 1 year and a half. Can you kind of explain what caused this delay?
Yeah, there was no delay. We've always said we were going to market in 2024. Briefly last year in 2022, we announced that we were looking forward to pulling that forward to 2023. Unfortunately, because of what happened in the world this year with Silicon Valley Bank imploding, as well as interest rates in the macroeconomy, we just pushed it back to 2024 again. Yeah.
And what are the milestones that you actually need to achieve before being able to launch your product? And what kind of can go wrong? What are the risks?
Not really any major remaining risks. You wouldn't call any of them existential risks. The major risks at this point, there's three things we need to accomplish to get to market now. One is FDA clearance. Two is clinical trials, and three is market introduction. FDA clearance is a low burden for a prosthetic. It's 15 to 20 people, 1 to 2 research sites, takes about 3 months. It's not a big 10,000 person drug trial. And those clinical trials, for the FDA, those are the clinical trials. For FDA clearance, we are a class 1 and class 2 device. Class 1 are like tongue depressors. Class 3 are like pacemakers. So prosthetics are actually a fairly low FDA burden as well. And like I've said, we've taken dozens of medical devices through class 1, 2, and 3 clearance with the FDA before.
That makes sense. Last question for you from me. There was kind of a jump in the price that investors have to pay to get in your round from this round, from the previous round to now. Can you kind of explain what motivated that increase and what is the extra value that investors are getting now?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the last round that we closed was almost 2 years ago now. So in 2 years, what we've done is 3 major things. One, we've nearly landed a production intent design, which I think most people in the industry would tell you probably takes about, 3 or 4 years with a good team of dozens of people. So I consider that definitely a major win in terms of efficiency. The second thing that we've done is we've tested the arm on over 30 different people. And again, all of them have moved all of their joints. And the third thing that we've done is we've grown that wait list to actually over 10,000 people now. So our wait list of qualified buyers is now over 10,000 people, which represents just over $200 million in forecast revenue.
A couple of questions from the crowd that have come in. First one, what is the planned market approach upon entry?
Sure. I think I'll just say the quick version of 2 things. One is, what does sales look like and what does distribution look like? Sales for us looks like peeling the first 500 to 1,000 people off of that wait list, which we did that for that exact reason. We de-risked going to market, given our extensive backgrounds building big marketing engines. And the second is distribution, and distribution is really kind of both D2C and B2B. So we both own the experience with our users through adamlimbs.com and our apps, as well as I guess what I can say is we have established and are working on a number of partnerships with both clinicians, clinics, and payers and providers to enable the distribution of our arms in those clinics for people who are already working with them today.
Well, actually, that's a perfect jumping off point for the next question, which is, will this be approvable through Medicare as durable medical equipment with Medicare covering 80% of the cost?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're aiming for Medicare approval. And I think for everyone here, what that question is getting at is in the prosthetics industry, all private payers like Blue Shield, Humana, Cigna, whoever, they all copy their policies from Medicare. So if Medicare approves you, that means pretty much private payers will approve you. And yes, absolutely. We're aiming for Medicare approval, no new codes, no new billing codes. So we would use the same billing codes as today.
Got it. And I'm going to kind of combine 2 questions here. So the first question is, why the low price? If a hook costs $25K, why price below that? And they're saying, I'm assuming insurance will cover the bulk of the cost, so why not price based upon value, selling a device for 50 to 100K? And then the follow-on to that is, could you double click on how you're achieving such a low price compared to the high-end options?
Yeah, I'll start with the second part first. How do we accomplish such a low price? The simple answer here is that all the prosthetics that exist today were designed 20 to 30 years ago and haven't been revised since then. And they're largely designed by companies that design each part in piecemeal. So one company makes a hand, one company makes wrist, one makes the elbow. So they're all looking for their piece of the pie. Because of our background building huge scalable products, the iPhone, the iMac, the Tesla Roadster, all things we've designed, we know how to design things for scale. So our bill of materials cost today on the prototype is less than $10,000, and our BOM cost on the product would be under $5,000. In terms of why price lower is a totally fair question. I would also kind of ask back, why not price lower? Because, people are definitely hurting for money right now, and affordability generally unlocks, volume through scale. But I also get, right, we're all here to talk about revenue and building big businesses. At the end of the day, Medicare and no private payer will reimburse a $200,000 arm. They don't reimburse them today. That's why you have to price lower. Yeah, great question.
Terrific. Last question for you here. What else needs to happen in order to be able to go beyond just doing prosthetic arms?
Yeah, so our planned rollout is to release the full arm, then the below elbow version, then the hand. It's designed modularly, so we can do that fairly expediently. We have a leg wait list now of over 1,000 people who want just legs from us. We haven't announced the leg. It's just people who broke our arm wait list to ask for that. We also, I should probably be sort of careful what I say here because we are still early days in it, as well as carving out these relationships. But there's no mystery here that absolutely general robotics is a huge, huge area. And we have a lot of inbound interest from everywhere from agriculture to hospitality to hazardous environments to use our arms. For example, for things like remotely operating the arm and not putting a human in an unsafe environment.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Tyler. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Renuka with Clockwork.
Hey, I'm Renuka Apte. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Clockwork. Clockwork is reimagining the beauty experience with AI-powered robots. So a little different from what you heard with Adam Limbs. Our first product is a manicure robot, and we've already delighted 18,000 people nationwide, from JFK in New York City to San Diego State University. And as we speak, we're launching our newest robot at Las Vegas Airport. Clockwork was born out of my pain point. Now, whether it is preparing for an important meeting, going for drinks with friends, doing date night, looking and feeling your best is really what makes the difference. Worldwide, women spend 4 hours each day on an average enhancing appearances. The average American is set to spend $225,000 on beauty over the course of their lifetime. And research has shown that when you look good, you feel good. And this effect impacts women disproportionately. So like me, if you're balancing a demanding career with the responsibilities of motherhood, layering on beauty services on top of that becomes unmanageable. And it really removes the joy that these services are supposed to bring. Now, due to the labor-intensive nature of beauty services, there's no fast food for beauty. If you focus solely on nails, a staggering 1 in 3 Americans paint their nails, and 2 in 3 women have reported that they'd have their nails painted all the time if it were quick, easy, and affordable. Our flagship product is an AI-powered robot that is fully autonomous. It delivers high-quality manicures in minutes and at a fraction of the price. We picked polish changes to start with because it's one of 2 most common services offered by nail salons, and one that doesn't pay adequately for humans to do it. Now, we've spent over 4 years building this robot, so I'm going to play a quick video of our journey. This is the first robot, as far as we know, that literally touches a completely untrained human. We've had to create a proprietary platform that adapts to unpredictable users and non-Newtonian nail polish, all in real time. Our custom cameras create a precise 3D map using structured light by capturing over 100 images of the nail within a second. Our AI finds edges with sub-millimeter accuracy, and our path planner then decides how to move over the nail to dispense polish and create the perfect coat. We've basically built a patented hardware and software platform that was not only cost-effective to build, iterate on, and service, but which can also extend to other beauty experiences. Now, it's like we've built the platform that is the iPhone, and Nails is our first app. And so getting into the next experiences or next apps is going to be a lot easier. We reach our customers where they're already spending their time by partnering with brick and mortar hosts. Our partners lease our robots to drive their own KPIs. For corporate, this is an amenity which brings people back to work. For retail, we increase dwell time, bring in a ton of new foot traffic, and exceed average net sales per square feet by 6 to 7 times. At airports, our robots seamlessly integrate into existing environments and bring in incremental revenue, which is super important there. Our hosts pay us an upfront fee, a monthly fee, and a percentage of revenue from services. And we're seeing massive success with this model. Now, unlike a lot of seed stage robotics companies, Clockwork is already scale ready with fully autonomous robots in the wild and the traction to back them up. Our over 18,000 customers have given us an NPS score of 78, far outpacing leading brands in our industry. At our Rockefeller Center robot, which is now in its third year at that location, our customer retention rate is 40% compared to nail salon averages of 30%. And we can do even better with the features we have coming up. But don't take my word for it. I'm going to roll this video of customers reacting to their first Clockwork experience.
Ready. Whoa. I can't. It's so cool. I mean, like the application is like wildly perfect. Dan. Thank you. Ready. They look awesome. They look really good, like very smoothly applied, and like the coverage is everywhere, which is great. They're easier. Someone was like, I would love to get my nails like each week. It looks better than the last two manicures I've gotten. Actually, very surprised by how it's really accurate on my fingers. It was incredible. It's so cool, and I was so surprised with like how smooth and like perfect the application was. So it's awesome.
We have signed contracts representing over $2 million in ARR and plus $770,000 in upfront fees, which are paid at the time of signing the contract. Our largest contracts are almost $500,000 in ARR. 85% of the contracted locations have come from existing partners expanding. In just the last 2 months, we signed 24 new locations, which bring in $516,000 in new ARR and $223,000 of upfront fees, which is great for cash flow. All of our traction was made possible by our amazing team. I have a master's in computer science from Georgia Tech with a specialization in operating systems and AI. I bring 15 years of experience at companies like NVIDIA and Dropbox and have built products that have reached over 700 million users, clocking over 1 billion in daily uses. Our CTO and co-founder, Aaron Feldstein, has spearheaded AI and infrastructure development across all phases of the product lifecycle. Most recently, he led teams at Dropbox that contributed to over 100 million in annual revenue. With experience leading teams at Dropbox, NVIDIA, Elf Cosmetics, Clorox, Toyota, and Uber, our team is strongly positioned to capitalize on the unique opportunity in front of us. Clockwork is pursuing an aggressive growth plan. We plan to roll out key new features for a full manicure experience, like gel, designs, shaping, and cuticles. We will add subscriptions and touchscreen partnerships to further improve per robot revenue. By 2026, we will introduce new experiences beyond manicures. Clockwork is backed by some of the best VCs and angels in Silicon Valley, including Gary Tan's Initialized Capital, Pipeline Capital Partners, former CTO at Coinbase and former GP at Andreessen Horowitz, Balaji Srinivasan, and former Sephora CMO, Julie Bornstein. This community round is led by co-founder and former CTO of Dropbox, Arash Firdausi. Clockwork is on track to reach thousands of locations in the next 3 years. Beyond nails, we aim to revolutionize the entire beauty experience, including skincare, hair massages, and more. So join us on our journey to bring AI and robots to the $625 billion beauty industry. Our round is already oversubscribed, but we're leaving it open for a super limited period of time for our community. You can invest or increase your investment at wefunder.com/clockwork.
Thank you so much, Renuka. That was a really terrific presentation. I I learned a ton. I'm really interested in your company. But with that, I'd love to open it up. Olivia, do you have some questions you'd like to ask Renuka?
Hey, Chris. Yes, thank you so much. And thank you so much for that lovely presentation. I also just wanted to share, I'm based in San Diego and I checked out your SDSU robot the other day. So it was very cool to be able to see that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so I have a question. I'm curious quite your robots are all across the country, and I would love to hear about how you can iterate and maintain those robots, improve on them, and what kind of intervention you have to do to maintain them, specifically around, changing nail paints, and making any hardware or software updates.
Yeah, great question. And this is something I'm super proud of. So my background and my co-founders is largely in cloud infrastructure. And we literally built the robot from that mindset. So we can basically control all of it remotely. We've built this software platform whereby we can actually introspect. We have diagnostic tools. So like most of our servicing can be done remotely even today. Not only that, we have live support where people can see the diagnostic, our live support agent can see the diagnostic information and help people out in real time. And this has meant that we've already spent very little on servicing. And that's why we, as a team of, barely 12 people, have 11 robots out there and growing very, very quickly from there. So, our servicing cost today is about 2 to 3% of revenue, and it can get even lower with some of the AI-based changes that we're incorporating. With respect to inventory, we just ship it out, and it's sort of like restocking a retail cabinet. So we just train our partners to restock that cabinet. And we know when the inventory is running out because our cartridges, they're individual cartridges. It's like an espresso pod, and the robot can read them. So we know what has been used.
Very exciting. Thank you so much for sharing. And also apologies, my name is Olivia. I have the overlay is not
Thank you, Sam Fisk, number 2 on the team. Thanks, Olivia. Renuka, a couple of questions coming from the crowd, and I think these are some really interesting questions. First one coming from Hani is, great presentation, Renuka. Is removal of old nail polish necessary before applying the fresh one? How is that done? Also, what other use cases do you envision for this platform?
So yes, nail polish, automated nail polish removal is available. It's actually one of the simplest things about the robot, but it's so delightful. I can't tell you how many customers love it. It's just like a little polish remover pot that wiggles around your finger. So super simple, not high tech, very delightful. We do require fresh, clean nails before you go in. And that's because the camera has trouble seeing, we use structured light. So if you have anything glossy on your nails, we do have to take some care of how we paint, which means that when we're painting coats above, which we are working on right now with things like design, we have actually put in a lot of very interesting technical work to be able to see that nail surface despite the polish being there. But when you start off, we do need clean nails. In terms of where the platform can go, if you remember parts of that video, it's actually very generalizable. So, we started with things like calibration and localization, where, the robot is moving. It was a little quick, but we literally swapped from a robot arm to a gantry, which is more like a 3D printer style thing. We swapped the end effector multiple times in a matter of days. We swapped cameras. We went from like a laser-based, object finding thing to like structured light cameras. It was a webcam in the beginning. So like we've actually done a bunch of this swapping very, very quickly with our platform. We've even done things like painting with one camera from one vendor and another from another one, just to prove that we could do it and we aren't affected as much by supply chain issues.
Terrific. Another one I came through from Sharad is, what nail color options can consumers choose from? And how does Clockwork make sure that the robots are always filled to avoid downtime because of no nail polish?
Great question. So we do have to tune a polish. We do use brands that are well known, like SE, OPI, CND, and we've also developed our own polish colors just to show that we can do it. We have a very exciting partnership coming up, hopefully, that I can talk about maybe in a month or so. Which will, again, it's great for us when we are partnering with well-known brands. So at any rate, we do build our own cartridges. They are sort of, there's a cartridge dispenser at the side of a robot, very much like an espresso experience. So you pull out a cartridge of your choice, and then you pop it into the robot. As I said before, we keep track of which inventory is getting consumed, and we ship it in advance to our partner, and then our partner restocks as they see fit.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more question, but before that, I'm going to do a really quick one just for an individual who said, at the DCA location, are the machines before or after security? Because they're interested in going to check them out.
They are on air side, so after security.
Got it. Okay, terrific. And last question here. What is your financial model? Who owns the robots? And does the retailer, mall, or airport purchase them and pay a royalty? Or does Clockwork rent space and pay a % to the real estate owner?
Yeah, so basically our partners pay us an upfront fee. Typically, it's about $15,000, a monthly fee or a percentage of rev share. So it really depends on which locations we're in. So if we are in retail locations where we think the footfall is going to be terrific, we're probably going to go all the way to the rev share side and just pay them like a percentage of the revenue. If it's going to be, we've also done like fully B2B deals. So with Xwell, we actually go the route of, it's purely B2B. They pay us a flat fee every month, and they keep all of the revenue.
Got it. Well, Renuga, thank you so much for your time today and for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you. It was exciting being here.
All right, Andre from Jetoptera, you are up.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Andre Evolet, CEO, CTO, and co-founder of Jetoptera. A bit about me. I'm an aerospace engineer and inventor with more than 100 patents. As a former GE engineer, General Electric, I led the technology integration and maturation of the largest turbofan engine in the world, the GE9X, that goes on the 777X aircraft. I have a PhD in aerospace engineering from Rutgers University. Today, I'm excited to walk you through the groundbreaking aviation technology we've developed here at Jetoptera. Jetoptera was dreamed up by a team of industry vets and aviation enthusiasts. My co-founder and Jetoptera CFO is Simina Fărcașu, a 3-time founder and former managing director at a leading financial institution, bringing extensive financial expertise to Jetoptera. Our other co-founder, Denis Dancanet, is our chairman of the board of directors and president of Cubist Systematic Strategies, the $17 billion AUM investment arm of Point72 Asset Management. He's also a private pilot. And our VP of Business Development is Todd Newton, a former lieutenant colonel for the US Marine Corps with a background in aerospace business development. Together, we form a dynamic team ready to revolutionize the aviation industry and make the flying cars and air taxis that you might also be dreaming of a reality. Let's talk about the problem. Legacy aviation methods for vertical takeoff and landing, such as the ones you see here, are loud, slow, and complex. If you've ever been in a helicopter, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There's an enormous opportunity for innovation in this space. On top of the well-established helicopter market, the advanced air mobility market is projected to reach $1 trillion by 2040. That's Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley data, sorry. With the development of new manned and unmanned aircraft and new use cases for aerial mobility beyond what's possible today. Enter Jetoptera. We've created the world's only jet propulsion solution using fluidics and eliminating propellers and rotors. Our technology offers a single system for vertical takeoff and forward flight with unparalleled safety, weight savings, and cost effectiveness. The lack of blades and tremendous thrust produced by our system means we are 30 decibel quieter and 2 to 3 times faster than traditional methods that use these blades and rotors. We are the only aircraft with no external moving parts that can do vertical takeoff and landing. And most importantly, this is a dual use technology for both military and commercial uses. Our technology supports multiple fuel sources, including jet fuel, sustainable aviation fuel. You can hear about that a lot these days. SAF reduces up to 85% the carbon print, and can employ hybrid and electric power sources as well. This is because we've developed a distributed propulsion system that uses compressed air supplied by turbo compressors. It doesn't matter what drives these turbo compressors. Our fuel agnostic approach means that we can bring our aircraft to market with traditional fuel sources available today, but also adapt to hybrid and electric sources as the battery technology develops. This is our flagship product, the J4000. It is positioned to be the first useful air taxi. This is the product that will change the world, and you might be a passenger on one of these in the not too distant future. We are well on our way to commercializing this aircraft model with the manufacturing of the turbo compressor unit and discussions with potential customers. And we're taking off. Our technology is protected by 92 patents with 100 more pending, putting us light years ahead of competitors. We have generated $3.1 million in revenue from the US military. We've invested $10 million in R&D, which has allowed us to develop, test, and demonstrate our technology in static tests, wind tunnels, and actually flying prototypes. One of them is shown in my background, is our flight test bed, where we test various configurations. And it is a glider that is basically propelled only by our system. As I mentioned, our technology is dual use. On the military side, Jetoptera has been sponsored by US SOC and AFSOC. We were awarded a 2022 high-speed VTOL vertical takeoff and landing challenge contract from AFWERX, the innovation arm of the US Air Force. We're working with industry giants Northrop Grumman and Pratt & Whitney. Until now, 100% of our revenue has come from military contracts, and we sold one prototype system to an original equipment manufacturer. Now we are expanding our focus to commercial development. You can see our VP of development signing and shaking hands with the Inan CEO here, which is what I want to talk about next. We just landed a major deal last week with Inan Dubai that will significantly accelerate our path to commercialization. Under the Memorandum of Understanding, we will co-develop and test the J500, which is the 500-pound total weight vertical takeoff and landing cargo drone. We will do that in Dubai by the end of 2024. When successful, Inan will operate a fleet of J500 starting as early as 2025, and then look to co-develop the rest of our air taxis, including the J4000 I mentioned earlier. The ultimate goal of the program is to produce large numbers of the J500 for operational use, as well as to scale up the J500 and eventually our larger models to operate as manned air taxis in Dubai. Separately, Inan has also expressed interest in deploying the FPS to other architectures they are developing. Our FPS can be integrated into a wide variety of airframes. So just before I leave this one, this is a significant advance because Inan is the first and only UAV and air taxi manufacturer in the UAE, which gives them advantages and help from authorities. For example, they are the first company to have received clearance from the Dubai government to fly drones in the local airspace. One of our limiting factors until now has been certification, so this effectively removes that barrier. This collaboration reduces our risk and paves the way for Jetoptera to benefit from a vertically integrated approach from design to production, certification, and operation, all within the UAE. Now, our path for commercialization is an overview of our progress to date. I mentioned our military collaboration and that we've sold our first system to one of the larger aerospace companies. Given the latest development with Enon, we now have a direct path of developing the J500 to the J2000 and then J4000. In 2026, we'll launch our commercial certification program for the J4000 with a view to commercial sales by 2027. Our FPS will be integrated into other aircraft configurations, like you see here on the right side, by 2027, adding, for instance, short takeoff and landing capabilities to the conventional takeoff and landing. Thanks to our proprietary proven fluidic propulsive system plus upper surface blown wing. You can see some of those embodiments here on the right. This is technology we've already demonstrated under the DoD contracts, proven to perform better than the distributed electric propellers approach everyone else is deploying. So Jetoptera is at the center of a market expected to grow tenfold by 2040 to $1 trillion figure. This is a number that, as I said, Morgan Stanley analyzed and published. We have the potential to disrupt a market currently valued at 105 billion based on physical sales across advanced air mobility, general aviation, UAVs, and military applications. Jetoptera's position in the $30 billion commercial drone market just got a significant boost from the Enon deal. We are now much closer to the follow-on J series to penetrate all of these market categories. This is a huge unlock for us. To make the larger trillion-dollar market a reality, especially in the transport, logistics, and autos shared mobility space, the world needs the unique capabilities that Jetoptera is developing: range and payload with safety, silence, and speed. Our technology is driving growth across multiple use cases. Aircraft using FPS can operate around the clock thanks to the quiet propulsion. Many of these applications for helicopters, for instance, have restrictions in time of operation during the day, never at night. We can also land in tight spaces where large rotorcraft cannot, thanks to our compactness. We require no dependency on runways. There is almost no limit to where we can fly to and land safely. The applications are limitless, basically public safety, logistics, surveillance, and general aviation. What about financials? Our projected
30 seconds, Andre.
Okay, I'll finish up here. Projected revenue is 2.3 billion in 5 years from technology licenses, sales, and military revenues. What we're projected here by 2028 are our anticipated military contract sizes. We think this is realistic given our direct path to certification. With that, I want to thank you very much for your attention and invite you to invest in us and wefunder.com, Jetoptera. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks so much, Andre. I mean, you guys are building a pretty incredible technology, and I'm excited to see it flying above our heads one of these days. With that, Teddy, do you have some questions for Andre?
Yes, Andre, thank you for that presentation. That was super cool. So my question is, how did you discover the fluidic propulsion system, and what are some other, if any, propellerless technologies that are currently being developed?
Now, excellent question. It's not so much of a discovery; it's an invention. Just to set the reality here. Basically, our system has been tried in the past by others with mediocre results. Let's put it that way. To the point where they've back in the 60s, they've flown a 40,000-pound aircraft using much poorer performance technology using this compressed air. So what we've done in the meantime, we've experienced with 3D printed hundreds, literally in my driveway, after 3D printing hundreds of prototypes, we tested various concepts and designs using a tow behind compressor, like the diesel compressors you see on the streets. So we down selected to the best configuration. So it was a down selection to that, and from there we have scaled it up to larger and larger systems. I'd say that a big impact has been the capability to do 3D printing, so rapidly down select to the best design, and also the ability to shave a lot of weight from the systems. But we've tested in the wind tunnels and we tested in a static test, and that looks really better, much better than what was tried in the past. I'd say one last thing, just to say, I have a lot of experience from my previous career at General Electric, where I worked on 70 plus technologies, developing technologies for largest turbofan in the world. And I know instinctively what works and what doesn't work, so I know what to go for.
Thanks so much. One more question here from the crowd. So one of the questions that came in is, there seems to be huge competition in the vertical takeoff market. He feels as though he sees a new company almost every month that's coming into the space. What do you make of it? Some even look very close to commercialization in China. So he'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and it's absolutely true. There are at this moment over 300 companies that are competing in this space. There are 99.9% of them prisoners of battery technology development, which is the challenge. If you want to do a full electric vehicle like everybody's trying to do, you are the prisoner, you are depending on the battery technology development because it's too heavy. There's this thing, it's very different from the auto industry. Your gravity works against you, and the idea is to create an agnostic energy system like we did, that allows you to work with what you have today, and by the time the battery is ready, implement it right away, which is something that we can do. Others have to wait for the magic battery. So that's one thing that distinguishes us. But the other one is, of course, we eliminate propellers, rotors, and by doing so, immediately physics tells us that we're much more silent. That's a huge benefit, because acceptance of people of this electric taxi, air taxis, depends a lot on the perception, depends a lot on the noise, and depends a lot on the infrastructure. We solve all these issues with our system.
Terrific. Thanks so much, Andre. Really terrific presentation and really interesting company. So with that, we are going to switch to doing a little bit of a roundtable and just hear from each of our analysts their thoughts on each one of the pitches and companies. And in the meantime, we are going to make the poll available for all of you to be able to vote on what your favorite company was today. And then we will note a winner right here, right near the 30-minute mark of the hour. So with that, at KingsCrowd Capital, you're seeing three of the analysts who work on our team full-time, helping to make the investment decisions, write the analyst reports, do all the analysis around these businesses. So they have a ton of experience in looking at these deals. A lot of the key things that we look at KingsCrowd come down to the 5 T's, which are looking at the team, the technology, the total addressable market, the traction and financial performance, and the terms of the deal. And then we use our comparative ratings technology to look at all of these investment opportunities of all companies at a similar stage to assess, where their strengths and weaknesses lie, to help us identify really interesting investment opportunities like the ones that you've heard from here today. So with that, we'd love to just hop in. Maybe we start with Leah and discussing atom limbs to start off.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Well, Tyler really had a strong presentation this morning. I'm really impressed with by the technology. And I think that one of the great things that Tyler did was actually demonstrating to us that the technology is working through video. I feel like with such complex technologies, when you're an investor, you're not really in the field, it's kind of hard to know whether it actually works. And it's not that we're not believing founders, it's just that we don't know them, we're discovering the product. And that was a really great point about the pitch. The second thing that was really great and what Tyler did was talking about the team. And I know that because of kind of technical difficulties, he couldn't get to it. But investors should be looking at the profile of Tyler's team because they're great at product design. And like Taylor, I do not have I'm not missing any limb, but I can only imagine that the product design and the ability to use it seamlessly is very important. Finally, if there would be a point of improvement, it would be to mention a couple competitors and kind of show to investors how is Atomy actually differentiated from them. Is it cheaper? Are they going to market faster? It's pretty easy with just a quick Google search to find potential competitors, and I think it would be good to talk about them.
Terrific. And yeah, I kind of think of Atom Limbs almost doing to prosthetic limbs what Warby Parker was able to do for glasses, bringing the price down and creating better design around it. And I do think that's a winning strategy. Thanks for that analysis. All right, Olivia, what were your thoughts on Clockwork?
Yeah, another fantastic pitch. One analogy that really stood out to me that I loved Renika used was fast food for the self-care industry and the nail industry. Because when you look at their solution, it's not really directly competing with nail salons, but it's also not quite directly competing with at-home nail care products. It's kind of opening up this new piece of the market that potentially didn't exist before. And I really appreciated that analogy. It was a great way to explain their solution and what they're working on and why it's so novel. On the flip side, I would have loved to hear a little bit more about the business model. How are the end users being charged? How are the businesses being charged? And get into the nitty gritty of the price differentiation. I think she did a really great job of explaining how the company and the solution is different than what's on the market. I would have liked to kind of hear a bit more about how it's actually going to be cheaper for the end user.
Well, I certainly love seeing the level of traction that the organization has. And cool that a lot of folks will have an opportunity to maybe go check out one of their locations. You still have an opportunity to vote while we go over Jetoptera here. So if you haven't voted already, definitely put in your vote. And Teddy, let's finish it off with Jetoptera. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, really, really cool presentation. It's obviously technology that we've seen being developed for a while, and hopefully one day we'll have a world of the flying taxis and everything. I think with kind of moonshotty companies like this, and pre-revenue companies like this, it's really important to analyze the team and the traction. With traction with a company like this, it's obviously you can't just analyze the revenue, but you can analyze grants they've gotten from the military, from governments. So I think Andre did a great job highlighting those because that's sort of the best way to analyze a company like this. And the team as well, having experience in the aerospace engineering field is obviously of utmost importance when you're developing a technology that's this capital intensive and regulatory issues and all of that. So I think he did a great job there, as well as highlighting the complementary skill sets that him and his co-founder have, her kind of being the more business finance side and him being the more engineering piece of it. Things I would have liked to see a bit more, maybe perhaps a little bit more of explanation of why this technology for commercial use hasn't been sort of developed at a higher rate and why the use isn't as much there. Obviously there's safety concerns, getting the general public kind of on board with the safety of flying taxis and all of that. I think that's going to be a huge not issue, but just something to think about. So that was really good.
Yeah, time to market is going to be a challenge when you're dealing with a wholly new industry, especially when it's in the sky. There's going to be a lot of regulatory requirements that need to be met. Nonetheless, being at the forefront of that, I think is really, really exciting. So with that, we do have a winner. I am proud to announce that Atom Limbs has won the day. So congratulations to Tyler and his team. And thank you to everyone for your presentations and for your insights. This has been a really wonderful event. And as a reminder, each and every one of you can go and invest in all three of these companies today, which I think is a really unique opportunity. Thank you everyone for attending, for listening in, for your votes, for your thoughtful questions. It's been a terrific event and we look forward to seeing you in Q1. Hope you have a happy holidays.